A lot of new music artists struggle from having a clearly defined image. Not a message, but an image. You're in the melting pot and lost in the sauce of all the people at the bottom that's got all this whack juice on them that you got to get out of, right? It's like that scene in The Matrix where Neo has to get all that stuff off of him. So you got to get all this stuff off of you, and you have to have a clearly defined image to stand out from the people at the bottom. A lot of you all got some self-doubt going on that maybe I shouldn't be as authentic as myself, but really and truly, you need to be yourself in this game if you want to see some of the dynamics of where you are right now begin to change and you begin to rise above the fray. So why is there always an issue with you standing above the fray and being true to yourself while creating an image that is unique to the masses so that you can appeal to the masses? Well, we got to talk about that coming up right here on the Music Money Makeover show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover show. My name is Casey Graham. And check this out. I believe that if you're ever going to build something that's going to be worthwhile using your self-image, you're going to struggle through some of these processes that I'm going to talk about, but we're going to get through it. So let's hop in. So the first thing you got to understand and what you have to do here is project who you are inside onto the outside world. See, it's about realizing the importance of authenticity in music and expressing your authentic self fearlessly. Pause right there. That is probably one of the hardest things to do. Because when you're coming in the game, you're looking at everybody else that's out here doing what you're attempting to do, which is projecting yourselves onto the universe, if you will. But they're already out there doing their thing, and you think, well, everybody likes that, so I should do that. You have to do yourself. So as you gain confidence in projecting your identity, your external problem of blending in with the crowd begins to diminish. And that's the key thing. You get what I'm saying? To craft an influential image in the music industry, it is essential that you project who you are on the inside to the outside world. Now, this means creating a consistent, unique image that reflects your identity and resonates with your intended audience. The world needs to see who you are, your passions, your influences, your style, the entirety of what makes you unique as an artist. This outward projection not only serves to distinguish you from other artists, but also addresses your internal battle of self-doubt, reinforcing confidence in your unique self-expression. So however raunchy that expression may be, quaint, reserved, outgoing, loud, whatever that expression is, colorful, bright, whatever it is, you have to be that. You have to be the true full essence of you. And even though I get that that can be a lot easier said than done because people are afraid to be themselves, right? Or it may take money to actually accentuate some of the deeper parts of yourself. That is what people want to see. Period, man. Like, that's how you're going to win. That's how you're going to set yourself apart from others. And that's how people are really going to believe you. So like I said before, there's nobody else on YouTube that is doing this in the music space the way I do it. Nobody brings you concepts the way I mean, they talk about stuff, but I'm the only one that teaches and brings concepts and talks about numbers and talks about solutions, because my show is pretty much solution based, not give you a little bit of information and you can figure out the rest, right? That's not how I do things. I do things just a tad bit different, and I'm just being myself. I rarely even switch my clothes. You see the same clothes every other week. You know what I'm saying? But I don't, it's like, man, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we hear it like, come on, is it about the information or is it about all the other stuff? And that's really me. But you could be the person that needs to be flamboyant and fly and colorful and all of that. That ain't me, but I'm being me. You get what I'm saying? So now, check it out. While you may be hesitant about what others may think, remember that people are more likely to connect with your authenticity, enhancing your image's overall appeal. And this is true. It's a delicate balance between maintaining integrity and understanding the role of perception in your career. But it's a balance that can be struck with thoughtful intention. The power of perception that cannot be underestimated in the music industry. See, in a world driven by social media and public image, getting people to think a certain way about you can significantly influence your career trajectory. Okay, so earlier, and I know you said this is contradictory. Well, not really. When I'm talking about going deeper within, okay, who would you be? What would you look like if you had $1 million in cash right now? Right? Let's say if your style of dress, like whatever you had on right now was $1,000, what would you spend $1,000 on an outfit right now? And what would it look like for you? Where would you stay? What would you drive? And I'm going to say, how would you talk? But what would you be most vocal about if you just had the money and it's like, yo, I'm not going to get fired from my job. You know what I'm saying? Or this or that, or label's not going to say something to me or say that you can't talk about that, while you're signed to this label. What would you say? What would you wear? What would you eat, drink, dress? What would your kicks look like? What about your haircut? That is how you get people to think a certain way about you, by really digging into yourself. This involves leveraging social media platforms, public relations strategies, and even personal interactions to shape the public perception. So once you decide what it is, all those things I was just talking about, then you want to put it into the universe. Like, okay, this is me. This is who I would be if I was just, from my mindset right now, if I just had all the bread and money wasn't a thing, this is what it would be. Now I'm going to take somebody and help me, which would be PR agent, but you don't need that. You can start to do it on your own by social media, and you're going to start to shape the public's perception of you. So you can take bits and pieces of the essence of what you would be if you had it all, and then you put that on and you say it, whatever, and then you put it on social media, and people can see through that. People can see that far in advance, and that's all you got to do. You get what I'm saying? Overcome your fear of judgment and embrace the power of perception, realizing that the image you project influences how people receive your music and understand your artistry. So one thing I used to see with producers when I would go to auxiliary events where you just plug in the aux cord and play your stuff, or if you go to a studio and you see producers plug in their beats and they just press play and they just be there looking down. You got those producers, and then you got the other producers that come in and it's like, and they nudging you and stuff. You feel this? And they doing all that, right? And when the beat is fire though, it helps really to make that sale pop off. Without doing the extra dancing and your beat saying fire, it's like, all right, dude, sit down. But in most cases, a lot of producers got some dope beats when they move into the room. So when they just jamming like this and they getting you to, they're getting you to go with it. Now you're excited. You're like, yeah. Versus the other guy that's like, because that's what he thinks of himself. Like, he doesn't really think that he's great. Even though he might know that he has the skill, he doesn't think that he's great. And you have to shout it to the mountaintops that you're great. I'm great because I do things a little bit differently. I'm proud of the fact that I give you all solutions. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to uncover the way the messenger has to say their message, right? I'm keeping all the, obstructions out of your way so you can clearly say what you need to say on the mic or on the beats or whatever, and I'm giving you the chance to do so, okay? Now, and I'm going to explain how I'm going to do that in a minute. Now, when the Tastemakers developed the perception of you to new people, remember our boy from 2 weeks ago? He came back, he's like, yo, what's happening, man? So anyway, collaborating with the right tastemakers can help you overcome your external problem of reaching a wider audience while also enabling you to uphold your authenticity in the face of potential industry pressures. In the music industry, tastemakers can act as a catalyst, propelling you and your career forward by introducing your unique image to audiences. These tastemakers, whether they're influencers, radio hosts, or industry professionals, can be instrumental in shaping public perception about you. Hear that out. So, step into a room, you fly or whatever, you're going to meet this tastemaker right here who's also fly. You know what I mean? You're cool. You might not be super confident in yourself, but you're pretty confident, right? They see you for the first time. You have other tastemakers that introduce you to other people. You always looking like a star at this point because you're beginning to get more comfortable in your skin. Clothes clean, shoes is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you fresh, and you are beginning to be fresh all the time. Well, at this point, when the tastemakers start talking about you, they're like, yo, it's this guy, blah, blah, blah. And now they're giving the perception of you to other tastemakers. So they're taking what they saw and experienced with you, and now they're telling other people. However, to make the most of these connections, you need to trust in your ability to forge meaningful relationships without compromising your image. It's crucial to understand that tastemakers are tools to spread your authentic image and not dictate it. So if you're giving an authentic image off, like I'm saying, then they're not going to be able to change too much of it. But if you approach this tastemaker and they don't quite understand you, but they still love what you're giving, they're going to kind of smear or misconstrue your image a little bit to make it either seem more cooler than you are or more upbeat than you are, because they didn't quite catch it. But if your energy is infectious because you're comfortable in your skin, then they run off and they tell people about you in the right way that you wanted them to take your whole aura and then tell the next tastemaker. So this is very important because our tastemakers are also our early adopters. So you need them to talk about you in the right manner. Therefore, you must convey yourself the right way. You must project yourself out the right way. You get what I'm saying? Now, what if my authentic image isn't well received? Authenticity often resonates more deeply with audiences than a fabricated image. It's better to have a niche audience that genuinely connects with you than an audience that fluctuates because your image isn't unique enough. And this is how people, they may start some rise, but they can't uphold the image. And then it's like people they begin to see through it, and then they begin to call you corny. Like, oh man, get this, you know what I'm saying? Corny, cornball, whatever you call it. People begin to see you as that. So you want to remain true to yourself as much as possible, because people resonate with the truth a lot easier than they do with a facade. So, can I control how others perceive me? While you can't control individual perceptions, you can significantly influence them by being consistent, authentic, and proactive in crafting your image. So that's why I said you have to be comfortable in your skin when you're really doing this, when you begin to rise, because if you're not, people will run away with your perception of who they believe you are, and they begin to express you as that. And then as you rise, you won't really be able to control the narrative, which would mean you need to get a PR agent to help you control your narrative, because stuff done got out of control at this point, and people are talking about you in a way that you don't want to be seen. So now, won't relying on tastemakers dilute my image? Well, I said earlier, tastemakers can help broaden your reach, and they may dilute it by the way they explain who you are to others. But this is somewhat out of your control unless you define your image clearly. You got to understand, you have to define the image clearly. Now, get to work. List out your passions. List out everything that influences you personally and your music. And here's what you can do. Create a swipe file where you save images of things that you feel represent you, kind of like a vision board, right? When you stand back and look at your list and your swipe files, you will begin to see how you want to project yourself onto the world. Like in a nutshell, from the imagery standpoint of it, like a lookbook, if you will. All right. And people do this all the time, but don't do it as a vision board to say this is where you want to be in the future. Do it from the standpoint of this represents me. This represents the true essence of who I am in all of these different areas. And then I want you to just go back and look at it, stuff, pictures without words and stuff, and just look at all the pictures. And then you can kind of begin to see the perception of you or what it should be. Okay. Now, if you got to me on this video, maybe you've been just introduced to me and you've never really seen all of my talking points. I'm going to tell you this. Once you begin to design and craft your image, you want to hold all this stuff in a particular situation. You're also going to need a foundation to build all this stuff on. And if you've never done that before, then doing all of this work is not worthless, but it's going to be undermined, if you will, because you need a foundation to handle all of this work that you're going to do. Therefore, you're going to need a record label. And I've designed a framework to establish your record label in a perfect 60-day sequence. Building the LLC and tying the bank account together with some base level anonymity to look good for potential investors, setting up your records and publishing division for international and domestic royalty collection, keeping the middleman out and saving your 15%, because that is expensive in the beginning, and utilizing all the contract templates inside of this course will put your game on track so that you can move and flourish through this music industry so you won't be caught off guard so suddenly. All right, it does get a little bit more advanced in this game, but all the stuff that's covered below, BMI, ASCAP, Sound Exchange, the MLC, Music Reports, Harry Fox, Luminate, All Music, ISRC.com, Music Distributors, and more. I mean, it's action-packed inside of this course for just $275 or 5 easy payments of $55. Get your life together for a fraction of the cost of nothing, really, because this is nothing. Now, after going through the course, you're going to need to get on a call with me, and we need to develop a strategy for you to actually win in the game. I recommend doing that by booking a call below, or you can do that before you start the course. It doesn't make a difference. It's all good. I want to talk to you anyway, and I'll get you on the right track, all right? But if this is your first time watching the video, or you've been watching for about a week or 2 weeks, grab the free stuff below, check it out, and then come back and jump into the course to save your life and your record company. You get what I'm saying? Save you a whole lot of headache, all right? But in the end, genuine audience connection is what you're looking for. Greater recognition and influence is what you're looking for. And you'll get there. Increased confidence and self-assuredness. And when I tell you increased confidence and self-assuredness, I mean, I'm telling you, man, when you're so comfortable in your skin, man, nobody can pull you off of that because you are yourself. So it's not like you have a shaky foundation there. And then you're going to have more meaningful collaboration with anybody that comes around you, because now they're collaborating with you for your authenticity. A broader audience reach and financial and artistic success are right there on the horizon. But you know how it goes if you begin to fail at this thing. Alienation from potential audience, lack of industry recognition, and an erosion of self-confidence and authenticity will happen. It will happen. It is what it is. I mean, people they still want to say, nah, man, it's just, you got to give the people what they want. No, you don't give the people what they want. You give the people you. And then they decide if they want it or not. And if they don't want you, then they don't want you. But you don't give the people what they want, because then you don't enjoy what you're doing, and then it becomes a job. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, we got to be right over here. This is where we want to be. Currently, your image may be a little bit cloudy. This is probably not the first thing you think about when you're creating music. But if your image does seem to be a little bit cloudy and people can't really distinguish you from the others, then take some of these steps, start to implement them, and then you will begin to see your results change. All right, Music Money Makers, if you make music, you should always make money. Log on to musicmoneymakeover.com, jump into the 60-day record label course, download the free stuff below, book a call below, and I will see you next time. Peace.